Reddit, what is the most effed up way you got back at someone that wronged? Why? Throwaways encouraged. A friend and I were fishing at a local creek when my friend's brother pulled up. Being the deck he normally was, he started throwing rocks in the creek to scare the fish, and then he threw my friend's bike in the creek. We were 13 at the time, my friend was crying and I felt so bad. I jumped into the creek and got his bike out. Told him we would get his brother back. About a month later we were fishing again, in the dead of summer. I told my friend today is the day we get his brother back. I caught a 2/3 pound carp, threw it up on the bank side, and left it there until we were done fishing. At the end of the night went back to his place. His brother's car was sitting on the street. We took the carp, stick it open and threw it under the driver's seat and rolled his windows 3/4 up. The next morning when we woke and left, I forgot about what we had done. Well, when I rode past JT's car I noticed the window was kind of black, and then I took a closer look. It was covered in flies. I got scared because, did not expect a window caked with flies. By the time I got home, I was laughing in tears. Because his brother was always such a deck to us. Fast forward to baseball practice about 3 days later, my friend had a black eye but smiled at me when we made eye contact. His brother flipped out and ran into his house and punched him in the face. His mom flipped out on his brother. Brother was grounded for the rest of the summer. His mom said that my friend would never do such a thing, and he played along and acted as if he had no idea. The smell never really left the car. We nicknamed his brother Lord of the Flies. A school bully repeatedly knocked a binder from my best friend's hands every single day, while we walked down the hall. Now we were in high school. Back in the pre-Columbine era, so people didn't freak out as often when kids did effed up. I convinced my friend to stick tacks through an entire side of his binder, turning it into an extremely dangerous spiked weapon, and just hold on extra tight while waiting for the bully to come do his thing. The kid lacerated his hand pretty badly. After he slammed his hand down into it, my friend held on and yanked back. Jacka didn't try that again. Tam immune to poison ivy, so I was always uprooting it in our yard, about a full acre. I'd left it on this concrete area behind our garage, because that's where it was near when I pulled it out. Hey, one was lazy. Anyway, I frequently walk down to a fishing pond across this canal in my neighborhood. This is in South Louisiana. I didn't always have a functioning bike, and the walk was only about a mile. A big kid, probably 2 to 3 years older than me, was a real jerks. He'd do stuff like ride by me on his bike and act like he was going to high-five me, but then slap my face and ride off, laughing. Anyway, one day he did that and I went back home, upset. I got my water gun and was going to shoot him if he messed with me again. Then I saw the poison ivy and got an evil idea. In the bucket, it went with some water, stirred it all up good, then dumped that in my water gun. Went back to the pond. On the way back home he came around messing with me again. I hosed him down and he broke my gun, but man, it was worth it. From what I hear, he didn't go back to school for almost 2 weeks. One time when I worked in a small video store as an assistant manager, there was this one customer who was being a real a-hole, to the point where I got fed up with his shoot and threw him out. He had been in a hole to every single other employee degree in the store, including our boss. He was just a mouthy, harassing jerk. It would take way too long to go into the details. Anyway, I saw him in a little strip mall nearby one time, and he was bragging to some guys about he was cheating on his workers' compensation. Then he pulls out this wad of cash and waves it under their noses like a Japanese fan. I got all this freaking free money from lying about my injured hand. What in a hole. Anyway, if you go into the blue pages of the phone book, you'll find this listing in CD at cap letters that say, Workers' Compensation Fraud Hotline, and take a wild guess what video stores keep in their records? Full name, home address, and phone hash. Not only did turn this guy in, but was also able to provide great detail as to exactly how he was faking his injury as he explained it to his 2 friends. I moved around a lot as a kid. Dad in the army. Parents divorced. Not staying in one place made long-term friendships impossible. But my situation attracted bullies like flies. One moved to a new school. A bully picked up my scent instantly. Tripping and shoving. Making fun of my clothes. Nothing too terrible, but I was already unhappy, so I felt miserable anyway. One school day, I asked to use the restroom. Passed by said bully on the way into the bathroom. He didn't do anything to me this time. When I entered the restroom, someone was in the only stall, crapping on the floor. I walked out of the bathroom, disgusted, ready to tell on them. I was 7 at the time. One was ready to enter my classroom when an incredible, yet devious idea came to me. I went straight to my bully classroom and walked inside. Everyone looked at me, which normally would have given me enough hesitation to turn me back to class. But that day, I didn't so much as pause. One walked up to the teacher's desk, pointed at my tormentor, and boldly proclaimed that he had pooped on the bathroom floor. The teacher's reaction was better than could have ever expected from me. She made him follow her into the restroom while he cried and slobbered out, "I didn't do it. He's tying." Over and over again. She then grabbed a wad of paper towel, handed it to him, and we watched as he picked it up and put it into the commode. She thanked me for telling her and told me to go back to my classroom. This happened about 20 years ago. I still look back at this moment as a turning point in my life. I became me then. At an all-male military boarding school during high school, there was this huge douche on my hall. We took his Febreze bottle and filled it with piss, then sprayed his pillow, whale locker and opposite corner. So he gets back, smells urine, and immediately grabs his Febreze and douses everything. Eat a D, Donovan. Eat. A. D. Another ex-wife story, and some double revenge. During the last year or so of my marriage, I was spending a lot of time out of town, commuting for 3 to 4 days a week for work. One night I was working remote and decided to do some upgrades on my home computers, so I remote in and noticed that the connection is really slow. I do some network traces and find that my wife's computer is participating in a video chat with someone in another state, one where she has no family that I know of. Curiosity piqued, so I start to monitor. More stuff, like IM conversations which are not encrypted. Over the next few weeks I keep my mouth shut as I collect more evidence, mostly Yahoo and AIM conversations. I also had installed security cameras around my house because we had problems with the neighborhood kids, and eventually I catch footage of some guy coming and going from the house, at one point even driving my car. I still keep my mouth shut because I know if I say anything my wife would just lie about it and somehow make me out to be the bad guy. I know who the guy is by now, and I gather more data on him. And then he does it. He plugs his laptop into my network. So, I'm a network engineer and security admin by trade. I know networks, I know how to monitor them, and I know how to fiddle with data. My wife knew this, the guy she was messing around with knew this, but he was still dumb enough to enter my domain and play around on my network. I start grabbing usernames and passwords, email accounts, IM accounts, etc. I reroute all of their web traffic through at proxy so I can monitor where they go and how they log in. Eventually I hit the jackpot. Dumb runs a very well-known gaming forum that is a major source of revenue for him, and he logs in without using SSL. He thinks it's secure because vBulletin hashes the password before sending KT in clear text. However, if you know the hash you can use it just as well as the password itself. I use his admin username and password hash to log in and make a few admin accounts for myself, naming them something inconspicuous and changing the account creation date to make them look old.
Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.